The very first week of this class, I posed a very essential question. What is the purpose of education in a democratic society? In order to answer that question, we have some terms we have to define. The first term is democracy. The second term is education. And the third term is social justice. Democracy is a Greek concept that was founded in the 7th century BC by the Athenians. The word is demokratia. It comes from two Greek words, demos, which is people, and kratia is power. So the literal translation of the word is people power. But we have to pose a question. Who are the people? If the people are defined by culture, then that's exclusionary. If defined by religion, it can be exclusionary. So we have to define it rationally. Who are the people? The second term we have to define is education. Education comes from the Latin educare, which means to set oneself free or to lead oneself out. So education then is the process of setting oneself free, or the process of liberation. Social change is a product of people setting themselves free. To many folk, democracy means nothing more than a political polity. But if we began to see it as a moral construct, in which we discover that people are innately equal, that they are innately free, and that they choose to limit the expression of their freedom, liberty, so that everyone else can be free. Democracy is a wonderful concept, a wonderful construct. It allows us to call into question all those things that are dehumanizing at any particular time and place. When we began exploring education, according to Paulo Freire, must be based in critical and creative thought, as individuals and people come together and work together to transform their world, both qualitatively and quantitatively. Miles Horton saw education as a means of true social change. This was exemplified in the citizenship schools, where people were taught to read critically and creatively, and then they began to spring up these citizenship schools throughout the South. Julian Bond made the statement that the citizenship schools were the true foundation of the civil rights movement. If we began seeing democracy as a moral construct, then we can understand the power of education in a democracy and the purpose of education in a democracy. Let's see if I can explain it this way. If you can imagine a tapestry on which was woven every human event from the beginning of recorded history to the very present. If you look closely, you could see the cave-dwelling paintings and the paintings of the masters. You could see Michelangelo, Da Vinci, and you could even see the angst, and may even feel the angst of Vincent van Gogh. If you move closely and you listen, you can hear the native rhythms of the indigenous folk. And you can hear the great masters like Johann Sebastian Bach, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Ludwig van Beethoven. And yet you can hear the expressions of the soul, the angst, the love, the yearnings in the music of people. If you look closely, you can see all of the great technological wonders that man in each civilization has generated. You can see the great pyramids, the Great Wall of China. You can see all those expressions of what it means to be human. And yet, if you look closely, you can see the dark side. You can see the wars. You can see the Holocaust. You can see the expressions of dehumanization, bigotry, rape, and slavery. In that tapestry, if you step back, you'll see three strands. The first strand is a black strand. Sometimes it's stretched very tight, and sometimes it's very broad. And this black strand represents man's quest to know the truth. One great teacher said, "Seek the truth, and the truth will set you free." And we know that is true. We see the scarlet strand. The scarlet strand, too, binds every civilization together. And the scarlet strand represents man's quest to be free. Sometimes it's a trickle. Sometimes a whole civilization is awash in a scarlet hue. Another great teacher made the statement, without the shedding of blood, there is no freedom. And that, as you step back, you'll see a golden strand that's tightly woven within each civilization, each generation of each culture. And that golden strand represents man's humanity to man. As man discovers his humanity and extends it to others, and it can be as simple as handing a cup of cold water to a thirsty person. We step back and look at that tapestry, and we stand in awe and amazement. No, it's not their tapestry. It's your tapestry. It's our tapestry as human beings. My question to you is, how will your life be woven into the tapestry of human history? Let me explain it this way. If I knew Aladdin, and I asked to borrow his lamp, and I was granted 3 wishes, these would be my 3 wishes for you, my class. My first wish is that you would fall in love with your life all over again. Albert Schweitzer made the statement, when a man stops taking his life for granted but beholds it as something unfathomably mysterious, thought begins. Do you remember as a child when you held a kaleidoscope up to the light and you turned it and saw all the facets of and arrays of colors and beauty, and you were amazed? It's like a crystal. When you hold a crystal up to the light and the light shines through each facet, you can become mesmerized by the beauty. That's your life. It truly is the only possession you have. My second wish for you is that you would engage in the quest for truth. It is true. Seek the truth, and the truth will set you free. Free from what? Free from our own bigotry and our own ignorance and those things that tend to enslave us. My third wish for you is that you discover your humanity, and that you learn to extend your humanity to others. Maybe then, as we engage, as we learn to fall in love with our own life and engage in the quest for truth and discover our humanity, we can slay the ancient dragons of bigotry, racism, and sexism. Well, alas, I don't know Aladdin, but as an ancient sage, an old scholar, I'm granted one wish. This is my wish for you, that you would become a philosopher. Nay, not an academic philosopher encased in an ivory tower, but a lover of wisdom, of applied truth, falling in love with your life, engaged in the quest for truth, discovering your humanity and extending it to others. You, my dear class, are engaged in the most urgent and important profession in the world. You are a teacher. Without teachers, there are no scholars. There are no presidents. There are no doctors. There are no lawyers. My wish for you is that you'd fall in love with your life, engage in a quest for truth, discover your humanity, and extend it to others. Thank you for taking my class, and I wish for you the best.